and today we're going to talk about the correlation of mental illness and good nutrition. Starch, protein, fat, and veg. I seriously feel like the last Airbender every time I say that. I don't know if you've ever watched that show. Anyhow, if you've never seen it, you're not going to get that. I know, super dorky. I am just going to stop right now. But these are the 4 food groups that is essential for our nutrition. If you're suffering from a mental illness, you'll probably already understand how hard it is to have healthy eating habits, or let alone like feel hungry. When you're depressed or you're feeling anxious, you tend to have like a loss of appetite as it is, or you skip meals and maybe even crave unhealthy junk food like sugar. I know when I'm sad or like I'm just having like a stressful day, the first thing I go to is like sugar, and my guilty pleasure is wine. I know it's not like a good thing when you struggle with mental illness. You should not be drinking alcohol as a coping, but it is something that like I think a lot of individuals who suffer from mental illness struggle with. I have struggled with not eating the healthiest as well. I have an eating disorder, so there already I have a very unhealthy I had a very unhealthy relationship with food. Up until this year, I didn't really know what a balanced, nutritious diet looked like. And it wasn't until I got a nutritionist that she really explained to me these 4 food groups. And she really broke it down as to how important it is to include all these food groups into your life. I had something to say and I just like totally lost it. Oh, food is our original medicine, and our ancestors knew this. This is why when you're sick, your mom cooks you your favorite food, or like something that's packed with nutrition, right? Usually you get chicken noodle soup, which has like your starch, it has your protein, it has your fat, and depending on if your caretaker puts vegetables in it, you've got carrots or celery. I know my grandmother used to make the most amazing chicken noodle soup, and she would put carrots and celery and corn, all these things that your body really needs to get better. Okay, you're probably like, okay, Lorelai, so what does my mental illness or my mental health have to do with nutrition? In recent years, they've been doing like a lot of studies that correlate mental health or like mental illnesses and your food, right? Your nutrition, and having a good, solid, balanced diet. There are certain nutrients that you need that come from only food, and having omega-3 fatty acids is one of them, folate and vitamin B, minerals such as sodium and magnesium, there's potassium that you need, and also amino acids are super important. It's like the building block of life. You need them. So if you don't have them or you're not being given those things, you're not going to be happy. I did not believe in this until I really started eating a balanced diet. I was like, this is such crock. I don't believe in any of this. I was in denial that I even had an issue. But once I started following what my nutritionist said and eating those 4 food groups, it wasn't until then that I like actually felt joy for the first time. I hadn't felt joy. I didn't know what the true meaning of joy was until I started eating. And that's how impactful food is on your mood. It gives you everything that you need. And let me just explain to you what, on a very oversimplified way, it actually is that you need. Okay, so number 1 is starch, aka carbs. But we're going to refer to them as starch in this video. And I'm starting with this one because it is one of the more controversial food groups lately. If you've ever heard of the keto diet, it requires that you cut out starch completely. I I think it's completely, which is really unhealthy. I mean, it does help you lose weight really fast, but that's not healthy and it's not the right way to lose weight. Essentially what starch does for you is that whenever you eat starch, it releases insulin in your body and in turn turns it turns it into tryptophan. And if you have a lower level of tryptophan or serotonin in your body, it leads to depression and anxiety. And here are some of the foods that you can look for. It's super, I mean, I'm sure anyone can like say that they know what starch is or what foods have starch, but I didn't realize until, again, I saw my nutritionist and I got educated on this. There are certain foods that count as starch that I didn't know about. So like corn, squash, potatoes, obviously, pastas and bread, any grains, those are all considered starches. Number two is protein or amino acids, and essentially your body needs amino acids as a building block. I said that, I know, earlier in this video, but it really is critical for your body to have amino acids in order to survive and thrive. And there are 12 amino acids that your body can create on its own, but there's 8 that your body really needs from food or gets from food. So there's 2 ways for you to get protein, and that is through plants and through animals. And through animals, you get pretty much all of those amino acids. You can get it from meat, you can get it from dairy, you can get it from eggs. But with plants, it is a little bit, I wouldn't say more challenging, but it's something to keep in mind that the plant has only, I think it's missing 2 of the amino acids that are critical for you. So you also need to eat meat in order to get all those amino acids. Now, things like beans or legumes are something that you can get your protein from. So dopamine is actually created by amino acids, and obviously if you don't have enough dopamine, you are not going to have maybe a stable mood, or you're not going to be feeling as happy as you might feel if you don't have dopamine. And I'm just gonna say one thing to keep in mind when you're eating protein: you can eat too much protein, and that is why it's so critical to have a nutritionist plan out, I guess, a meal plan for you, or kind of give you guidance on exactly what levels of these food groups you need, because if you do get too much protein, it can cause permanent brain damage, essentially. So that is one thing to keep in mind. So number 3 is fats, and this one is going to be a very, I mean, not oversimplified, but it kind of is very simplified as to why I'm explaining to you why fats are so important, especially when it comes to our cognitive health. I actually am going to include the link as to, or like the webpage where I got all my information from, and if you want to read it, more power to you. It took me a little bit of time to really like sort through everything, but what I do understand and what my nutritionist has told me, essentially fat is so important because we need it for our cognitive abilities. The brain is actually the most dense in fat in our bodies. It's like the organ that just needs it the most, and so that's why it's critical that we get it. And it's estimated that like 50% of your gray matter it's estimated that 50% of your gray matter in your brain is made up of fat or lipids. And so that's why it really kind of, at least to me, makes sense as to why your body really needs it, especially for individuals with depression or anxiety. Your body, your behavior and your moods come from your body, but your brain. And so if you don't have everything, or your brain doesn't have everything that it needs, and you're not giving it that, how is it going to, again, function properly? And when I say like fats, you can, I mean, everyone's heard of fats. I'm sure that you probably like know where you get fats from, but I'm just trying to give all the information because I didn't know any of this stuff really until I went to a nutritionalist. I didn't really think about it. Maybe I knew about it, but I didn't think about it. Like, I wasn't like, okay, this is where I can get this source of food, or like these minerals, or what I need from this kind of food. But essentially, you can get fat from, specifically omega-3. You can get it from fish. You can get it from nuts and seeds. Also, butter is a great source of fat, or like any oils. And lastly, this is my favorite food of all time, avocados. Things like avocados you can get your fat source from. So yeah, that's fat. It's, again, like super simplified. Essentially, it makes sense that if your brain needs fat and it's pretty much made up of fat or lipids, then if it doesn't get that, it's not going to run correctly and it's not going to be able to communicate. Okay, number 4 is fruits and vegetables. I don't think I need to go into extreme detail as to why it's important to eat our fruits and vegetables and what benefits they give us from a very early age. Most of us are told, or like kind of, I don't want to say forced into it, but like I think most parents are like, eat your vegetables, they give you everything you need from a very early age. So we're kind of already self-aware of this, or aware of this. Fruits and vegetables give you the minerals that you need: potassium, calcium, iron is one of them, and these things can be found in leafy greens like broccoli and spinach. And things like avocados have vitamin B, and of course citrus fruits are going to have your vitamin C. But essentially, like, you get the point. You probably already know that it's very critical to eat these things because your body does require a certain level of minerals and vitamins to, again, just run. Since this is such a complex topic, or there's just so much that goes in with nutrition, and explaining it in one video is impossible, let alone me trying to explain it to you on the level a doctor or nutritionist can explain it to you. I highly recommend that you seek out a nutritionist. I would say asking your doctor is a good start, although honestly, I learned so much from my nutritionist that I didn't learn from my doctor, and my doctor recommended me to a nutritionist anyhow and told me I should go see them to have more information, essentially, or have a better planned or a dietary plan, if that makes sense, because everyone's different. Everyone requires different levels of starch, fat, protein, and fruits and vegetables than I do. And so if you're feeling like you are depressed or anxious and need to, or want to try something else, I 100% stand behind this. Not only because I had an eating disorder, like that's a whole different thing, but with my depression, it helped so much. So much. I can't even like explain how much getting a balanced nutritional diet like has helped me on that level. So yeah, that's all I got today. If you want more answers or want some more information, I'm going to put the link below so that you can actually go to where I was reading all this. If you have any questions about how I found my nutritionist, what were some of the things that like they told me to do, or even questions about your depression or anxiety and how I worked through mine that might help you, please comment below. And if you like this video, please like it. And if you want to continue getting updates, please subscribe. And I will see you guys next week. Bye!